Hi guys. I It's good to be with you, and I hope you can hear me out there. Hopefully you can. Um, so thank you for joining in. Those of you who are here on YouTube, Jochen, whose name often comes off a little more Asian when pronounced by English speakers, I've noticed, but joining in from the vicinities of Cologne or Western Germany. I believe so good to have you with us, and Sarah from Susan and Wendy Napolitano. Good to have you with us, and My Evolution. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the suggestion of doing live or a guided meditation, because I think that's beautiful. And then, like, I had some ideas, and then Mercury corrected me about what's going to happen here. So everyone, I hope you're doing well on this vernal equinox, and looking forward to sunnier times ahead. And then someone pointed out in a comment recently that I was always talking about people on the northern hemisphere having preference, and then she accused me of being racist. And I think it was because I stated that most people live on the northern hemisphere, and I'm not free of prejudice, but that was just geography, I believe. So the fact is, simply because most people live on the northern hemisphere, the human collective consciousness is most affected by the astronomical currents that affect people on the northern hemisphere, such as the equinoxes. So that's just to say that if you are joining in from South Africa or New Zealand or Argentina or wherever, we're so very happy to have you, and it's very good for the energy grid. And even if you're a penguin from Antarctica, we're also very happy to to have you here, and hope you're managing the cold. But of course, it is a special occasion for all us up here who suffered through a long winter, that summer is coming. And with that preliminary, I hope yes, that the sun is also shining on you. It's been a beautiful spring in Northern Europe. And so what will happen here today is, I've called this Mercury's Equinox Energy Emporium. And so I will channel Mercury in a bit, God Mercury, who is the patron deity of this entire practice, this communicative energy, who is kind of the intersecting link. So of course, the messenger from the gods, he carries all these messages and translates them from the other entities, you could say. And so I will bring him in, and he will do a guided meditation, and then he will begin to introduce some, and I will jump a bit in and out and see what you guys have to say. But it will focus on, then, how do we channel? How do we work with channeling? How do we connect to our guides? How do we tap into frequencies? And we'll be working a bit with tone and different stuff. But I also sense that it will develop organically. So it's kind of a different format, and I need to extend a warm thanks to all my patrons. You hopefully know who you are. Thank you so much for supporting me. I know it's been kind of dead over there for a while, and I am kind of, I never really felt I got the hang of Patreon, so I am kind of going back to the drawing board with it, and figuring out an interesting way to keep going over there. So hang with me as this will also be coming up with the increasing light. And with all that talking out of the way, let's get some sacred energy up in this place. So much love to you, everyone, and thank you for being here. Oh, and before I jump into a chance, and I do see 111 here on my screen, I will make a recording, because I'm not quite sure of the internet connection I'm working with. So everything will be available afterwards if anything is troubling us. Sorry about that, guys. And so, with no more mercurial interruptions, we'll jump straight into this. Blessings and greetings from on high. I extend the word of the infinite realms and the cosmic forces that govern this universe into the realms of men and the temporal realms that you inhabit. I am the god Mercury. I am the infinite, the principle of communication. I am what extends connection between separate parts of the universe. And in this, I am ceaseless in my activity. I am deeply mercurial. I am omnipresent, and yet nowhere where you reach, you catch me. Nowhere where you try to seize me, you take hold. Everywhere I am behind the light, and yet the light does not describe me. These are parts of my qualities, and these are ways that I facilitate the communication between different energies. And so all of you are here to communicate. And soon I will bring you into an altered state. If you will follow me into this state, you will feel the suggestion of what I'm about to bring in. You will feel that the levels of synchronicity are increasing in your life. This has been happening already, and this may seem like a manifestation of this. That is, on the inside, you will feel this connection of disparate parts. Maybe it is something from your past. Maybe it is a vision from your future. Maybe it is a deja vu from your dreams, but something clicks into place. And when these things click into place, higher harmony is happening. And so, as we prepare for this symphonic creation, I herald the change of the dark into the light on this day, and I herald the change from what was secluded into what is illuminated. So at the end of time, everything will be understood. But here we still have questions and mazes to play around in and walk around with, asking interesting questions to each other, having conversations of exploration as we go along. Therefore, thank you for joining me, and thank you for joining this energy, this human body, lending its vocal cords and body to this communication this day. Thank you for all these eternal souls gathered here today, creating this point of consciousness and co-creation, this vortex of manifestation, this spiral of ever-flowing light and consciousness unfolding into matter. Mysteries will be revealed that you are already aware of, but it is my intention to set you free in these this day. This is why I have asked for this podium to be opened. This is why indeed I open this Emporium this day. And so this great marketplace that I will open it by guiding you into it. And so if you would, dear human being, you are invited to close your eyes or relax. You can also keep them open and find a distant point where your focus drifts off and you find yourself centered, drifting away between a point behind your eyelids, between a point that's centered at the center of you. You are drifting away. You are coming closer and closer to the center of you. As you drift away from this immediate experience, you drift closer into a radiant kernel. You see in the far distance this shimmering light, this diamond glowing with radiance, a specific radiance, a radiance that invites you. It is both warm and it is alluring. It is shimmering and it is bright. It has patterns, chrome-like surfaces, glimmering, shifting. As you move closer, you see this living, vivid pattern of light that reminds you of certain secrets and mysteries you've never been able to put into words. The most special and unique qualities about you, the things that are always there with you, guiding you as your purpose in this life. You see them reflected there on these chrome surfaces, these rainbow surfaces of light shimmering with their liquid metal love. This love you feel expressed in the light, in the luminous radiance that is growing. You feel it growing, you feel it expanding, you feel yourself immersed in this light, you feel it embrace you, you feel it surround you, and you feel that no harm can befall you, that all is well, that love is your vibration, and that this love fills you, it fulfills you, it clarifies your purpose, and it opens up the spaces within you that need this love to fill them and to open them up in the knowledge that you are safe, that you have always been safe, and that you will always be safe. Here, resting in this light, in this love, in this frequency of you, I invite you to take this love as a candle, a torch, a flame, unextinguishable, uniquely yours, and to set the rooms around you alight, to set everything alight around you. The entire world becomes luminous. And now, from this space, you step out into an open marketplace. You are in a town that is well known to you, and yet it is exotic. It is filled with strange noises, smells, and sounds. The senses of strange spices, weird scents, and calls in foreign tongues you do not understand. They entice you around this marketplace. This bazaar is opening. It is daybreak, and here you find yourself gazing around in the light. You see that the light that you carry, you luminous being, it is the same as the sunlight that is rising. You are the sun that is rising over this marketplace. You are in the center of it, and around you, all these stalls, all these special places, these secret venues that you can enter, that you can barter with. These are your guides. These are your other incarnations, your companions, your guardian angels, your benevolent beings, and your curious onlookers that have all gathered here to offer you something. And so, as you hold forward this flame that you carry, that can only multiply, well, who comes forward to lend some of that light? Who comes forward? Ask yourself, what does this being look like? What does it feel like? And what does it wish to tell you in this moment? Did you get that? You can write it down if you want, or you can simply inscribe it on the sound of the beatings of your heart, this eternal whisper that records everything and that stores it in the universal libraries of infinity, where all knowledge is available to you. Here are the access points. It is from this marketplace that you gain access to these different spaces, to the universal libraries to the infinite bazaars where strange ideas, gifts, and magic spells and items are bartered, and to these other spaces in the deep underground worlds where other secrets can be obtained. It is even from this bazaar that you can find the ladders to heaven and climb up this place. It is in this space that you go exploring. And so, to reward your guide, your friendly friend who came forward and who is still with you, who will always be with you, lend them some of your eternal light. Let them have a little of that light to also set their experience aflame, to illuminate it with the radiance of you, just as they have illuminated your experience with a little of their radiance, with their imprint, with bartering a little energy with you. On this very auspicious day of the equinox, you see, as energies are perfectly balanced, you get to offer up what you do not need anymore, and you get to take in instead what you prefer. The idea here is that in this bazaar, this marketplace, this emporium where you find yourself, this open place of exploration, there is always someone looking for what you are holding right now. There's never a wrong experience. There's never a bad experience. There's always someone who's willing to take the negativity, the unwanted patterns, the unconsciousness off you and carry it off, giving you something in return. And if what they give you in return is not your preferred ideal thing, you will do wise to do what the wise barterer does and find someone else who will trade up with that item. And so one day you may find that if you hear that moped passing by this physical space that I'm speaking into, that moped will be traded up for a car for the individual driving it. And that will be a day of victory and achievement for that individual. So wherever you are in your experience, you may sense that you are trading in something that no longer serves you for something that serves you. And the secret we are uncovering here today is to find the proper places to park unwanted energies and how to find the proper dealers of positive energies in your spirit family, attracting the guides that you need and want at the moment, and allowing for their aid and assistance, for their magical items to aid you and reach you. So with that, I, Mercury, the Lord of Communication, whisperer of messages from the gods into the ears of men, I greet you from on high, joining you in this space, thanking you for being here. My love and my blessings. That was at least a very interesting journey for me, guys. And so if you are and if you're just joining in, like no personal guidance, so thank you for the vote of confidence, and there will be other upcoming live streams where entities will answer questions next Sunday or something, I assume. So we'll figure that out, but today we are working with these energies. So if you have any questions about what Mercury just stated, because I of course I spent the time in the trance, but what he did was he brought us to this marketplace, and if you are to think of the archetype, and sorry, I'm sorry if I'm not living up to Star Wars law here. What's the place, the cafe in the cafe in A New Hope, the one where they meet Han Solo, the one with the alien jazz band and everything, because that's in many ways the archetype, right? That's the image. It's kind of this weird enchanted space where loads of different foreign energies are able to move into, and where you can move into. And of course we're speaking in the astral or the more dream state layers where you're not anchored to the physical. This is where you encounter these entities and where they encounter you. And so that's a very good so I think that's a very good starting point for you connecting to your own guides. And then I will probably offer the technique that what you can do when you encounter this guide is you can ask for an expression. And the reason I'm saying expression is because it is my impression that people are very different in this. So I will usually like to express this in tone. So the most immediate way I connect to an entity is through the idea of tone. So for instance, I experienced in this meditation, I had it was like this weird, very broad-lipped, blue-like alien, and he would kind of have a voice that went something like and where that's coming from, like it's an incredibly intuitive impression, and I could bring him fully through and talk to him, and I think I'll do that in a minute because it'll be funny. But ask yourself what is coming forward, because your way of channeling or connecting to your guides or expressing this is in the world isn't necessarily oral. It isn't necessarily something that you like to express in tone. Maybe you would rather like getting an image of feeling like there's some painting. And if you're that type of person, this is just coming to me, but I would suggest like keeping paper or crayons or what you prefer to have some sort of immediate way of expressing it. And some people are also very good with intuitive movement, and that's kind of the idea, where you'll also notice that I get these kind of instructions of different mudras or hand positions connected to the energies when I connect to them in the beginning of this one, for instance. So it's simply with you kind of tuning into what is the instruction I'm getting here, or what does this? They also spoke of magical items. What does this look like? This object. And Jana says, my guide on the marketplace said to me, "You are blessed," and thank you so much for sharing, Jana. And I hope you really felt the love from the guide in that. And I also felt inspired to. I think I will try to scissor out the guided meditation and then use that separately, because I thought that was kind of powerful. And then Mandy asks, any guidance on visualizing if there seems to be a block? And I feel I will return to former questions, guys, if there's anything pertinent, because I sense there is. But any guidance on visualizing if there seems to be a block? And I think that's one that I'll connect to. I'll connect to Mercury, because he has an opinion on this. Well, if there is a block, it is because you are, well, putting the cheese where the mouse doesn't live, or looking for the pot of gold at the wrong place at the end of the rainbow. That is visualization is probably not what you're looking for, or rather, the idea is that your idea of visualization is that it should come forward in a specific way, and your way of visualizing is very synesthetic. Well, what we mean by that term is that it's very connected to other senses, and you may find that, well, what you should connect to is rather the immediate bodily emotion that arises with you when connecting to something. So you will, even when feeling that the visualization isn't really catching on, you will still have the feeling of, let's say, energy moving through you, shifts of temperature in your body arising, certain currents that are still passing through you because you are alive and a temporal being that is living and breathing and having an experience. And in that way, if you begin to feel just the temperature shifts, or you begin to focus simply on, well, the skin of your chest slightly expanding as you inhale and slightly contracting as you exhale, this may be ways that you can then connect to certain, let's say, more fine-tuned layers of this experience, because on top of that, and you are experiencing this but not noticing it because you're not really allowing yourself to, let's say, get that still or vulnerable for different reasons, and you will get there. Be patient, dear one. But therefore you may sense that what you want to do is to focus on this, and then you may begin to have more of an auditory input, more of a sense that there's a pitch in your ears or something that's coming through there of a slightly angelic tune, and this may be the way that you best connect, and then you could try to bring forward that frequency, and that would amplify it. So yes, with that, we bless you and we turn it over to the vessel here. Perfect. So Chuck Miller said, for me, I connected with a past life that gave me very helpful info. So my past life was able to be a guide in a way. Great meditation that I will use daily. Thank you so much for the feedback, Chuck. And I'm very happy to hear that. And I think it's past lives, and a lot of that is coming up right now to be cleared out. I've also experienced in private sessions that I've both myself been guided physically to go places where I didn't really understand why I was there, but connected to past life clearings. And of course, also the counterparts or our guides are or actually often past or alternative lives. So how they come forward in the moment, it can be both with the face of aliens or ancestors or past lives. And I think it's so beautiful that I'm just so happy that you share that, because when they do these open guided meditations and we get to connect to what's most pertinent and coming forward in our own experience, that's really what I hope this workshop can do. But with me talking, I will jump to another technical aspect, because I unfortunately didn't have a singing bowl here today. But notice how tone is just so very powerful, because it essentially interrupts whatever thought pattern you have. And so I thought I'd just do the glass thing here to illustrate. So apart from the last thing, I know that was slightly annoying, but what probably happened to all of you was that the pattern of focus got disrupted, right? And so you entered this potentially very open state where you could essentially load in everything. And this is a space where we can connect to what we said. And Wendy said Rakim, I already work with him. Yes, I know you're very connected. He said he will remove any blocks to what I want for my own growth, which is very interesting. And Sophia says, any guidance on how to activate a pineal gland and DNA? And I think I can't connect to Mercury, but I think this is one of the things. This is one of the things where I'll do the very annoying thing of saying, "Do as I say, not as I do," because there are so many ways where you can do this. But what I found in my own life is that it, of course, also comes at a very steep cost. So in Norse myth, it's expressed with giving one eye to drink from the well of the underworld. So yeah, if you kind of clear out your life and dedicate it to sitting in a cave and doing breathing exercises, that'll do it. Or if you get really into tantric practices, or doing extensive amounts of psychedelics alone for days on end, all these things will be very much be activations, and then you get to pick up the fallout. But we are all on an organic pace, growing from one instance to the next. So there's also just the beautiful opportunity to trust that everything is right. And with that, I actually sense that there's a message from Mercury coming in, and I hope you are enjoying this format, because I'm loving it, and thank you for being here, and for the beautiful inputs and questions and energy, guys. Yes, because a part of this energy emporium, and what I have allowed to be opened up in the guided meditation within the space of your hearts, is this open space. This is an activation space. So within this, the pineal and the DNA, all these spaces are potentially being amplified. That is essentially the amplification of these spaces come, if not as a result of the activation of your DNA as the pineal, they will come as a type of epiphenomenon connected to that vibrational raising. So in any technique you can use to your vibrational raising. But the point that I was asking to pick up on, made by the vessel here, the idea that you are always in the right place, because this is indeed a heavenly perspective. That's to say that, well, all of you, you are brought up in spaces where you are in many ways looked at as being potentially wrong. And this is often with a very great love. So let's give the example that you are born, and then your mother, maybe your father, but well, at least the person who's tending to your immediate physical needs and making sure that you survive, they are ensuring. So yes, are you sleeping, eating? Are you sleeping, eating, defecating, wailing, doing the things that babies are supposed to do in a healthy manner? Is there potentially something wrong with you, little body? Or will you make it through the next day? Will our love keep you alive? So in that sense, there is an element of keeping people wrong simply by keeping your attention on how they are doing. Then in later elements, the question, of course, becomes, well, don't do that, you might get hurt, or don't do that, you'll hurt others, or don't do that because you'll poop your pants, or don't do that because you'll get something, make a mess out of things. And so there are in many ways where you are being censored in ways that are simply necessary to your process. But when you arrive at the spiritual path, that is when you then move into this censorship of yourself, which you call coming of age or growing up or education or maturity. Well, then you discover that there is something missing in your life, and you go looking and you find the spiritual path however you come upon it. Maybe you were called there, or maybe something was attracting for you from the future, wink wink, who knows. But the mere fact that you have discovered this place, you come upon the impediment, that the thing that brought you here was the sense that there was something wrong with you that you wanted to fix. And then the essential message that I and all the other entities or faces that the divine has communicating with you, we tell you that, well, there's essentially nothing wrong with you. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Whatever is moving through you is moving through you in sublime allowance and love. So from the point of the Godhead, from the point of all that is, from the point of infinite love of the source that's giving life and breathing life into everything right now at this moment, there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You are where you are. And all these achievements, in many ways, these projects that you set out to achieve, they are only worth as much as they hold a certain thrill for you. So it's the guidance that's being offered here is that, can you translate when you feel a negative pressure, or you feel this idea that something is wrong with you? Can you take this and see it as a movement of stuck energy that's lodged in your body somewhere? And can you translate it into an intention? Or can you allow for a guide to come forward and move it where it needs to go? So let's say here that our friend, this body that we are channeling through, it is experiencing, well, some basic tensions surrounding the sacral area. And if we were to take these tensions, we could ask an entity. Let's take a friend such as Archangel Raphael. He is a kind healer, is he not? And let us ask him if he would come forward and offer this assistance. Oh, there he is right now. So you see, if you then allow this vibration or thing to move through you, this will be a negative energy that's released into a type of light jitter vibration, and then allowing for this vibration to fit and change your being, that will be healthy. So with that and with love, I will pass the word over to our friend. Okay, so that felt really weird in my sacrum. I can reveal, but also it kind of feels like there's a little sun shining there right now. So very cool, and very happy birthday, Angel Wings. Someone said so. Yes, happy birthday, Angel Wings. And that would make you a Capricorn, no, Pisces. I'm not quite sure. Somebody weigh in. And I think the question, Jana, about Mercury on how to wake up in a dream state and dream consciously is very good. I'll return to that. But I think Jochen, I'm going back and taking the questions here to just go if there's anything. So Jochen says to connect to your Kundalini and raise the energy. But I feel like what he said here and the guidance again is that if you go into this space and invite a guide, they'll kind of meet you where you are. And that's very helpful because they're always gentle. You can use an angel, and if you're more into the alien stuff, then there's the Moldavite right here, which is just invite someone in, get an alien crystal of some sort. So there are ample opportunities, but if you invite a guide in, you can ask them to, well, give you information on your Kundalini. Just ask them, and maybe you'll get an answer in colors or however you receive it, but there'll be some kind of intuitive answer, and pay attention to that. And another technique is, of course, that you can just record it, speak it out loud, and record it if you want to get into channeling, for instance, vocal channeling. So much luck to that, Jochen, because I sense that there is kind of an angel trying to reach you, which is personally connected to your process, and so go to your marketplace and explore that. That would be beautiful. Uh, and then this is a great question, Sarah from Susan, because I had kind of felt intuitively that what he would move into today was also how to connect to um, higher ascended aspects. And so Seraphim Susan asks, how can I best connect with and express my creator being, ascended and angelic aspects, which are 70 or higher in my daily life and work? Thanks. And let's just see what Mercury has to say with instructions on this. And I sense there will be a communal activation here. So this might also be something where I will just have a sip of water from the goblet. Yes. So checking into Mercury, and we will check into how to connect to creator being, ascended and angelic aspects. Yes. And as I move in with this instruction, I point to the fact that you are already residing in these dimensions. This is a very helpful reminder, and I feel the need, along with many other entities, to keep underscoring this, that you are essentially connecting by remembering. That is, you are essentially connecting by removing the floodgates of what is already there. You are not adding on necessarily. This is a helpful way of thinking about it, but you are also just allowing more light to flow into your being. And so a very helpful way of doing this is to imagine yourself having a flow of light, a stream of energy, a tether of light, a rainbow river of living liquid chrome love flowing into the back of your neck, extending outwards and speaking warm and soft words whenever you speak in your daily life. There is certain incantations and vibrations you can use to activate this. Well, many of them have to do with repetition. That is, if you find something that has a tripartite pattern, or something as the holy, 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 for instance, you will find that this is in and of itself an activation code. And you can bring this forward whenever you feel the need to do this. So an instance practiced by the body that's translating me is, for instance, the metta, metta, metta. So simply, when he feels that his inherent bitterness is getting the better of him, then to wish, well, with this invocation, remind himself of the Buddhist prayer of extending love and compassion and enlightenment to all living things caught in the cycle of life. This is a very helpful way of connecting to these angelic aspects of you. So the higher ascended aspects of you is essentially your Buddha nature. It is the Christ-like nature within you that's coming to fruition. And know that, again, with the acceptance of carrying this forward with an humble and open heart, you are indeed adding much to the world already. So this is again about confidence. And so much of what I'm doing here in this Emporium is to, well, having confidence in what you have to offer. So many of you, and this is a problem, I might say, scolding you lovingly as I am now. So many of you gathered here give your love too cheaply. This is an emporium. I am the god of barter. And so when you give away your love too cheaply, you can only receive cheap trinkets in return. And so many of you do this trick where you give away your most precious gift for nothing, and then you let someone hand you some kind of aluminum can of a relationship or something else that you really would prefer not to hold, and you settle for it. You think, oh, well, I guess this is what my love is worth. So much of it is to learn that your energy is precious. And when you extend it, you are bartering. So go to your guides, go to everyone with the intention of a loving exchange, knowing that you are bringing forward light when you are connecting to your true self, that happy people look good, they emanate well-being, they make people feel at ease and peaceful with themselves. This is not necessarily something that you can achieve or be in every day, or you should ask of yourself, but just know as soon as you are connecting to that positive feeling of you, you are carrying out this luminous purpose. You are adding to the enlightenment of the species at large. And you human beings, you are moving into being something that is so much more loving and compassionate than what you have been before. And so this is also a new stage of humanity, a humanity that embraces its inherent differences by extending its unique vibe of love both to itself and to others, and receiving others' unique love in exchange. And so I, Mercury, speaking still, I will bring forward this activation that you may feel and receive. That was not the activation. That was the body that I am working through, clearing out some of the pollutants that it has gathered in its lifetime. So here is this activation of your ascended angelic nature. Oh. Feel the expansiveness. Feel the diamond ground you walk on. Feel how this prism bursts open, and there within it is hidden the true image of you as you appear to yourself in the realms of most high reality. Radiance upon radiance, love within love, light, seeing light, discovering itself playfully. Peace. I'm having a good deal of fun here, guys. And so Wendy is just asking if she can use her homemade crystal wand to work with these energies. You can, I've got some crystals here too, and thank you so much, Laurie, because these are just the size where I can bring them with me on the road. So they're very good working with, and Laurie was so kind to give these to me. And that's to say, everything you imbue with intention, you can essentially use it as this. And I was kind of wondering if I should do a separate video of it, but I'll just do a short introduction because I feel it will be interesting. So what you may do is you may want to set up a tiny altar, and I think what we can do here, for instance, is I'll hold this up because I already have a little altar here. I'm in a strange place, so I like the feeling of being protected, and this means that I have my little Shiva here, and then the Lord of Consciousness, right? So the infinite, so the principle of infinite consciousness, a higher aspect of Mercury you could also think him of, but that's a very esoteric lesson for another day. And then I kind of have this Moldavite attracting alien energy into the space. Then I have this Shungite. These are all gifts from Laurie. That's kind of blocking or creating an energy field here. Then I have this lovely rose frequency just reminding me of love and also to ground. And then I of course have like this crystal radiance that can both protect and heal and focus energy. And the more I use this and put it up and focus on it, the more power it gains. So that's simply to say that you are charging these things, and the idea of the magic wand, apart from obvious phallic connotations that I won't get into, it being a family show and all. I don't know. I always hit the button not for kids, so it's not like that. But here, for instance, I have this coral mala that I got in India, and you shouldn't buy coral, but now I have it, and so I use it, and so it's been left in the attic for a while, and I felt it was kind of faded, and now I've been using it in my meditations for mantras, and it's beginning to become charged again. So I can feel that it's attracting energy, and it's kind of warming me and setting me at ease just by doing this. And it of course has ocean energy, so it's very pleasant to do. So I hope that was kind of also a way, the Emporium of you opening a space, creating an altar using these magic objects, like crystals and stuff, as permission slips, as items, magic items, then you use to focus your and create your reality. So another magic technique. Uh, And then Kevin says, it has been stated and known that great shifts can and do occur at the solstices, equinoxes, and cross-quarter days. And then could you speak more on how physically? And I think that will, yeah, it's a good question. I think he says that it's kind of out of what he's trying to do here today, but definitely these are very auspicious events. So let's look into it another time. And thank you so much for being here and asking, dear Karen. And Jana asks, how do I intensify my natural source given magic? And this was an excellent question to start off. But I feel this is probably actually the question that we are answering in everything we do here today. So I hope you will consider it as such, Jana, or otherwise do ask again. But it's a very good question, right? It's how do we connect to our special source vibration and let that come out, and that is sort of that frequency that's particular for every one of us. And love and light to Angel Wings, and love and rainbows to Wendy, and hi Veritas, and blessings to you, brother. And maybe Beauty Jones asks about, that comes to me very strongly this morning, this energy that almost makes me pass out. And her third eye gets ticklish, and crown chakra feels heavy. like what I'm getting from you guys, and thank you also for the beautiful comments you leave on videos and stuff, is that like it's just a very, very heavy energy spiral, and and the amplification of energy. So so what he's saying, dearest, in response to also, well, both Joan's question and Kevin's question, like Mercury is saying that it's like a spiral, right? So it's both a cycle, and it's a line, and that is that's a spiral. So it means that of course it's following the same reiteration patterns, right? But it's doing so on a developmental curve. So this means that the vibration kind of gets higher or changes for every equinox, but it repeats the same pattern. And so for every equinox, for every year that progresses in these years of change or through human history, we are simply getting more and more of these inputs, downloads, awakening codes, stirring energies that change our frequency, and that's what you're picking up on, Joan. I can tell you. And I'm sorry for the physical symptoms, but I sympathize. I do, and that goes for all of you, because it's just annoying, it's just the energy symptoms. It's I at least curse them a little often. It's beautiful, Angel Wings, that you are connected to this season at this time. So I think that would also, I will just tap in, because it's like a birthday wish. I feel we should try to tap into what's going, if there's anything. Well, he says your spring is all clocked and ready to pop. Like, it's this image of, like you having wound your spring through all the year. And there's of course a pun here, because it's also the spring, it is the spring that we're entering. And then, being ready to go. So it's almost like this motion of being shot out of a cannon. It's fun channeling in this like clear channeling way. So yes, very happy birthday, and woohoo! Here's things being shot out of a cannon. uh, and then I think yes, excellent. I just sorry, I was just trying to figure out what to check into here. And then because Jana asked this question, which is about dream states. How do we wake up in a dream state and dream consciously? And I think that's a very good question. It's interesting. I don't know. I'm not making a I'm making an anecdotal point here, but everyone I've known who've been into lucid dreaming have been women. In general, I don't know if it's because I have more of these conversations with women, or women simply seem to be better connected to the dream world and better at managing it. And in general, I would probably say that it's one of those things where uh, I think it's probably also cultural or historical, but it does seem that women are often more connected to the spiritual realms immediately, though of course individuals are individuals, and it differs from everybody. And I'm sorry if I'm sharing this, but it's simply because I'm sensing that there is kind of a realm there that's energetically hard for me to access, where there's some kind of feminine magic or wisdom, or a way to move into that you may want to look into from, if not a female guide, then at least someone who's kind of more skilled in this line of magic. But with that long preliminary, I will ask Mercury, and I think it will be very interesting. So thank you so much for the question too. And if there are any guys who think like I lucid dream all the time, I'm very sorry to have offended you. It may just be me who have had this askew experience of who practice it. So any guidelines for Mercury on how to wake up in a dream state and dream consciously? Well, what often prevents people from doing this is the shutting off of these certain spaces, or that is imposing too strict boundaries or borders on them. The idea that there is one state where you are awake, there is one state where you are dreaming, there are certain dreams where you do certain things and have certain experiences, and other dreams where you are flying and do certain things. And so speaking to what the vessel here was addressing, or the thing about energy that he was speaking to, was that you will find it far more pronounced in the modern male mind, that it likes to compartmentalize and shut things off. It likes to have certain explanations where certain things apply, certain realms, and certain parameters are set. And within those parameters, operations can be had and be made. This is also helpful in a lot of ways, but it doesn't do very well for lucid dreaming, because what you want to do, dear Jana, and what this is in a sense far more built into the basic vibration that make up the feminine energy. And that is, you want to gradually mold yourself into a being that dreams while you are awake. And so how do you do this? Well, you either wake up in your dream or you dream in your waking state. These two states are not necessarily separate. The only thing that really separates them is that your consciousness is localized in one and it is not localized in another. You find yourself determined in a bodily experience in what you call waking. You find yourself not determined or not restricted. You find yourself rather in a mental realm of infinite fanciful creation in the dreaming state. And so techniques to train this Mercury is still speaking. Techniques to train this is that you will find in your waking state that you can focus on certain fanciful aspects. You can begin to recall your dreams, and you can hold on tight to your dreams. So keeping a dream journal, there will be at least one picture that you captured from that night's dream as you woke up and wrote it down. And the more you focus on that picture, the more you insist on that picture, the more you are connecting your wakeful state to your dream state. Then in your dream state, what you do is that you make a pact with your waking state, this other aspect of you. You find a type of a word or a code. It could be something like, I only eat bananas off the tree when they're red and ripe. It's very helpful to have a nonsensical image, such as a red banana, for instance, because this will help to stir the continuity of the dream state and thereby introduce the waking state into it. And so when you hear or see this phrase, well, I only eat bananas off the tree when they are red and ripe, you know to enter into your state. You will into your dream state. That is, your waking self will appear and show up and address your dreaming self. and the two of you will then merge, and then you can go exploring, flying around, seeing what happens in your dream life, creating this. We sense, as our friend here also guided, that many other beings may be more skilled or proficient in this certain exploration of lucid dreaming, and therefore I will leave it here for you to experiment with. But another state, as we are entering this energy emporium and that we have opened this marketplace, is simply to connect to one of your guides. There are certain guides that preside over your dreams. Often these are unicorn guides, for instance, who lend a little stardust to, well, otherwise mundane adventures of the night and enchant them. So you can call upon your unicorn guide as you sleep, and you can say, dear unicorn guide, see it riding in front of you, this open space that you have opened, where your guides, they are invited in. Dear unicorn guide, you can ask for its name. The one that is showing up here is calling itself Heimdall, which is a beautiful name for another god, but yes, and then it's saying, dear unicorn guide, will you please show me around my dreams tonight and make sure that the dreams are pleasant, interesting, and fun? And it will surely acquiesce because it loves you so much. So this is a way for you to also go exploring in your dreams, and do enjoy that, dear friends. Yes. Okay. How very, very fun. And uh, um, I think and I think there are two matching questions here, where Sophia partially asked if Mercury could help shed light on an area where I'm leaking energy, and help free her from it, and love and Mandy asks, and she attended a wedding yesterday and felt my vibration raise almost too high. She would be talking to people and overcome with love and excitement. Any advice on not coming off as too crazy? It's a common, if it's any consolation, it's kind of a common symptom, especially in beginning phases of awakening. Sort of this, like, I wouldn't call it. I'm sorry if I call it mania, because that's sometimes how it looks to the outside, but it doesn't register that way, and it isn't. Well, in your case, or in these cases, but it's often this acceleration where you're almost like, oh, I'm connected to the love, and I want everybody to be a part of it, and that's just to console you, dear Mandy, and say that it's it is fairly common, and I'd say uh, be more mindful of if you're sort of dispersing your energy in that, rather than coming off too crazy, because who cares what people think. Seriously, of course, don't necessarily frighten people at the bus stop by saying that, like, are you aware of, do you ever pay any thought to first contact, or anything like. It's save this for places where it's welcome, but at the same time, of course, it's just, we are who we are, and I think if you sit down and spend a little time thinking about your own experience, then you'll realize that you're mostly probably caught up in your own problems. I don't mean you, Manny. I mean you as the general one. Like, a person is generally caught up in like their own experience, and usually, like, you don't think that negative things about other people. Like, usually if I see other people do something silly, or they're embarrassed, I feel kind of relieved that I'm also being allowed to it. And sometimes I feel like, in a very petty spiteful mood, and I think kind of very negative, harsh, judgmental things about those people, and then maybe I'll be kind of ashamed of that afterwards. But I think, that's the realization that if anybody is thinking very harshly about you, they will either come to a place where they're like, oh, yeah, I shouldn't be thinking that way about people, or they will be people who just, really think very spiteful things about people all the time. And who cares what people like that think, because those, you just want to avoid people until they find out that maybe I should try, like, I should try being a little more positive. So that was kind of a rant on just this fact. But I'm glad, as you say, yes, it feels manic. I'm glad, as you say, because that can really be a very common feeling. And so also, um, I think I will bring in Mercury now, but that was, I think, a place where it was probably also nice to sort of relate to another human experience, and of course that's the other part of us sharing our crazy experiences, where they are welcome in a space such as this, for instance, because that means that the weird thing is that, hey, if you had troubles yesterday and you're sharing them with people, then your troubles are actually helping other people feel better, which is uh, is crazy enough. And it's because Jana is saying, I think red bananas is irritating enough to wake me up in the dream itself. I will try. Thank you for colorful advice. Super. I very much have the image of a red banana in my mind, and it's crazy, right? Why is that so crazy thinking about that? So here's to red bananas, uh, then I'll connect to Mercury about shielding energy in this. Well, yes, dear ones. So what you are also learning as you are moving into these more intense ages of higher vibration is that things are also lost more rapidly. To give an immediate example, you have an internet, but so much information is available on that internet that no one really pays attention to it. So you might remember that at some point, people would still be interested in celebrity sex tapes. And now you may almost assume that anybody who's slightly famous, there are probably materials in existence of them wearing next to no clothes, and you could go looking for it. But do you really want to occupy your mind with that stuff? So that's to say that you are all becoming very exposed, and at the same time, you are also all becoming more forgiving. You are also becoming less engaged in the necessity that others should conform, that they should wear their clothes all the time. You are aware that everybody has this uncensored dimension. And so watch out, and that's warning where I recognize the paradox. Watch out for paranoia. Don't be paranoid about paranoia. So you may feel that, well, your energy is leaking. There are places it shouldn't go, that you feel you may be a little out of your usual comfort zone and spilling over into places that you wouldn't like to go. But, well, is this also not a part of your emporium? Are you not exporting some of your energy into foreign and new markets and seeing how this may aid you? That is, look, where's the trade-off here? Who will maybe be able to receive this energy, if not in the physical, then in the ethers? Because know what you call the law of attraction, this law of mirroring vibrations, as below, so above, and so on the inside, so on the outside. So on the inside, so on the outside. That is to say that you will experience, when you put forward this vibration or this sense of love, that it will become matched by your inner reality and then by your outer reality as well. So that's also to comfort you, to say that you sense that these thoughts that then move through you also become of a higher nature, and you become less judgmental. And as you shed this, then what gradually follows is also simply, let's say, you forgetting that being judged is a huge part of some human beings' experience. And as you forget this, you begin to live in a more loving, secure, and comfortable place. Peace and love. uh, and that and I think uh, Suntok says, yeah, me too. I think all these thoughts that I don't think are genuine, I feel bad afterwards. Your thoughts are not your own, and that's why I think those come from other places, not you. Red bananas are right bananas. I think yes, I'll see. I'll put away the bananas, not go bananas for now, and then I'll comment on this. Because I think this is so interesting. Like, where do our thoughts arise? And of course, sort of the model that we've all been taught is they arise from, is that like uh, calcium and potassium ions, or it is calcium, right? In the brain, exchanging electric currents and creating sort of these brainwave patterns that we don't understand. But of course, what the entities are communicating is that essentially our brain is a translating organ. So it's all these vibrations that we're surrounded by. And so we, by choosing our mental frequency, choose which vibrational patterns we translate. And that's expressed in thought. So that is really the idea, that a lot of these negative patterns is kind of us being stuck in the world and configured into low vibration and thinking like that. And I think, a lot of it is just in the schoolyard and places like this, where we're kind of taught to evaluate and be cruel to each other, and we bring that along in our life, and then we try to move into a space where we resonate higher. And then it's actually interesting that the thoughts that want to translate ourselves to them become of a higher nature. And that's of course what I do with this channeling is, like, if you're wondering, is also that I don't know if I medicate or I treat myself to these high vibrational thoughts. So for me to sit around here and let like angels speak words of love through me is very healing, because of course that's something that, as Mandy also said, is in a completely part of that spectrum where I also used to be depressed and kind of my parents are narcissists and stuff. So like I'm very trained in kind of seeing that very, very ugly side of everything. And so I think it's so beautiful that we are all here kind of training in also seeing this expansive positive vision of what it means to be a soul having a bodily experience. And I think it's just been such an interesting experience, this experiment tonight, and I'm so glad that you joined in, guys. And I will get Mercury to finish off and do some I think do a kind of guided round off where he will also connect to some energies. But I think I'll try to experiment with this format in different ways. So um, so you yeah, so we can look into different stuff, and my evolution says yes, and Sunsoak says it's all one though, so you can channel everything, and exactly, there are infinite frequencies, and that's also very interesting, the idea that what they actually mean when they say you create or you select your own reality, right? It's from the point of view of these non-disembodied entities. You can just completely freely select where you want to be in your experience according to your vibration. And so, do you want to exist in high angelic vibes, or do you want to go into like the hellish realms that lie far below this one in vibration? It's all available. And I think it's interesting to think of how our thoughts just come in from every angle. Yes, exactly. Um, and then Sunsoak asks if I come across entities or energies that you just don't want to hear. Yes, I do. I do. Earlier on, I was more naive, I think, about wanting their perspective, and I still think that's interesting if I feel up for it. Like I can meet them in an open place where I feel they are forthcoming. Some of these more dark entities like Scorpios, Mantis stuff, but I also sometimes feel just the presence of dark energies that would like an access to this space. And also very often, like right now, I'm in a 150-year-old cellar, so there are like ghostly energies built up, but just energy patterns of human beings, and that I've always got a block up from that, because I I hate is a strong word, but I hate ghosts. They need to go back to source. They can't be hanging around here. But they're sweet enough. Of course, they don't mean it on purpose. So so thank you so much, guys, and connect. I will connect. I will do through this vibration of Shungite. I will ask Mercury to do this healing protective encasing of everyone, and so do enjoy, and thank you for the love. Encased in a deep protective grid. Know that the diamond encasing this image that we use, it is also a geological one, a biological one. We speak to the configuration of the human body. We speak to the carbon composites that were used to build these human bones and structures. We speak to the integrity within you. Therefore, know that your body, it is built of a great and strong skeleton, an architecture of connecting points, of geometrical surfaces, stretching and expanding, molding and forming themselves into an organic play of patterns. A vital pulse beats and animates this system of fluid flowing geometry, protected as it is by its vital codes, the sacred mantras of DNA, of life form, inscribed with holy energy, moves through it, defines it, creates it, makes it into what it is, a being of light, discovering itself as such. You are awakening into your purpose, and in this awakening, you are assisted on all levels by benevolent beings, by other forms of you, by your ancestors and past lives, other faces you have had that are now looking on, smiling, enjoying that you are discovering the purpose, their purpose, your purpose, soul's purpose, love's purpose is to see and be seen, to behold with love and embrace with sweet emotion and acceptance all that is in the great order and harmony of being. Our love from the heavens, I, Mercury, transmit and have carried to you this day, healing you and setting you free to discover your own infinite power, peace, and love to you, sweet humans. How wonderful. I really love that, guys. So I was swamped with beautiful energies. Thank you so much for your loving inputs, and see you soon for another for other stuff in the community. So enjoy your Sunday, however much you've got left of it, and do have a happy equinox. Thank you for sharing it with me. Much love.